Okay, we are getting ready to start. So my Ashley had a major case in, and we are so glad that you're joining us today. This session has some pre-made questions for it. However, we really want to guide the discussion based off of what even brought you here today. And so if you notice a little orange box highlighting, we'd love for you to say hello, or if there's specific questions you'd like to ask, if you want to type them in there, we will use that as a great way to facilitate conversation. You're welcome to join us via video if you're comfortable. We'd love to put a face to a name. However, if you're more comfortable in just the audio format, that is okay too. So I'm going to introduce my role and introduce our 3 students that are with us. My name is Ashley Jaramillo-Kaysen again, and I am the Assistant Director for Programming at International Student Scholar Services. So many of you may have got to know the admissions team here, Jeremy, Alex, or Nathan. But after you've been admitted, I'm kind of your next person. I'm the one that checks on you throughout your time on campus and helps you with your transition to campus from move-in to graduation. And so part of my role is working with the International Leadership Program. And so we have 3 students that will introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are, where they're from, how long they've been at SMU, and I think we could just start there. So Emily, will you get us started?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Qingye Wang. You can call me Emily. I'm from China. I graduated this spring, but I will continue study at SMU for my master's degree.
Great. And can you share with us what you studied?
For my undergrad, I'm in course studying marketing. For my master's degree, I will study management.
Great. And Cox is the business school, if you're all still getting familiar with the terminology. And we have Deepu as well.
Hello, I'm Deepya, but most people call me Deepu, just like Ashley did. And I'm going to be a rising sophomore this year, and I'm planning to major in economic statistics and business. And I'm an international student from India.
Thank you. And Lisa?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Fan, and I'm an international student from Vietnam. I'm a rising junior, and I'm currently majoring in biochemistry and minor in math.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to start moving through the questions that we have today. We're happy to welcome Andrea and Jose Rafael and Madeline and Sophia, and we have Angelica, Sakshi. Good to see you again. Well, hear from you again, Erica. If I missed anyone, please continue to say hello, or Annie Lee. And as you have questions, go ahead and type them in here so that we can make sure we include them, and we'll kind of just jump around between questions. So our first question is going to be an interesting one, because I think what we have lived, or what Emily and Deepu and Lisa have lived out before, is going to look a little bit different with how campus is reopening now. But why don't we go ahead and talk about what the typical day looked like for an SMU student, what it was like when you were on campus, and maybe you can even talk a little bit about what it was like when we transitioned to remote. So maybe we could just have 1 or 2 people from our group.
I can talk. It's like for the typical day at SMU, it's not boring, because except classes, we have a lot of activities from the different organizations, and sometimes we have activities from clubs. And during the festival, we also hold some festival for students to celebrate. It's like from different countries, like from China, we have Spring Festival from CSU organization, and I think for the other organization and the country like India, we also hold some activities for students. So SMU look like is not like what we look like right now. So if you come to SMU, you will have a lot of fun here.
I could go next if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead.
So when campus was still open before the pandemic, a typical day of an SMU student pretty much varies a lot depending on what major and what time of the year it is. Some major requires more work than others, but typically it's a rotation between working, studying, going to lecture, going to the library, sleep and research. Once we've transitioned to online learning, things are a little bit more different. There's a lot more flexibility in your schedule because the only mandatory act is attending classes through lectures. Sometimes professors record them so students don't have as much initiative, not as motivated to join as well. So though it might seem that there's more time available, it's still a good option to be on top of the schedule by attending the online lectures and to do your best.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. And for some of you who are opting to do the remote option, if time management is something that you're a little bit nervous about navigating that in the college setting, there is a specific office, I always have trouble pronouncing the first one, Altschuler, or the ALE for short. But they have specific professionals that are dedicated to helping you with your study tools and or academic success. And so they could do one-on-one appointments also virtually about how to time manage your classes, whether in person or online. It's beneficial for both. All right, I'm going to jump to the next question. Make sure that you use your chat if there's certain questions you want us to answer. How was it making friends at SMU? Like how easy or hard was that, and how did you do that?
I can go first. I think when I first came here, I was so scared just because there's a lot of cultural difference and also just the way we communicate with each other. But I think what was really interesting about SMU is that it was so easy to make friends. I think a lot of factors contribute to that. Maybe it's because of the small campus or the wide range of activities we had or the closeness that professors and the faculty just induced within us. Like something that's really unique to SMU is that we have a residence hall system and we have a faculty mentor for each residence hall that you stay in. And because of that, you have activities with them. And I literally made some of my best friends that I'm still super close with after 1 year with them on the first week of college. And like, you don't need to make friends on the first week of college. It's just that once you start getting into classes and you start talking to people, or when I started getting involved in organizations or going to all the amazing activities we had that Emily was talking about, it was just so easy to connect with people here.
And Deepa brings up something that is kind of a new concept for some people, where not only does the residence hall have a residence assistant, which is a student in a leadership role that helps oversee the building or the floor, there's also the faculty in residence. So this is an adult who is also a faculty member, but is also in a specific role to where they can also be additional support in the residence hall, and will also host different programs and activities to get to know the students better. And so I've got a question coming in, and flex dollars is something that you'll see that word thrown out a lot. Can one of you explain to us what that is?
Yes, flex dollar is basically, it functions like in an account that's a lot like a small debit account. You can charge up your student account with flex dollar and you can spend them on stores around campus, or on Starbucks, or on restaurants, etc.
It's just basic questions.
Okay. All right. We're going to keep going. Our next question is, what was the biggest challenge that you all faced when you transitioned to SMU, and how did you overcome that? And it can also apply in your transition to when you went remote and how you navigated that.
I could go first if you'd like.
Sure, whoever.
So the biggest challenge that I've had when I came here as a freshman was how to adjust to college workload, because high school in the US is very different. It's a whole another level of difficulty. You are responsible for a lot more than you probably would expect it to. And the professors are a lot different. The way that they approach the teaching is different. The way that lectures are structured is different. The frequency of tests is also very different. So it was overwhelming at first because I didn't quite know what to expect, and I come in and the first week was almost burned me out. But then I slowly pace myself and I start looking at what I'm not good at. In my case, that was essay writing because English wasn't my first language. And then I started attending ALEC, asking for help, and that has improved my grade a lot. Regarding transitioning from on campus to online learning, I believe the biggest challenge is probably learning to stay committed to the work. In an online setting, it's easy for you to just log on, have the camera off, and let the teacher speak while you probably multitask or to do something else. And I've realized that that is probably not the best way to engage in a class, because whether it's in person, it is important for you to interact with the teacher to get the most out of the experience and to learn to ask questions. That's how you stay on top of things. I 1 month period where I fall behind on things, and it was really hard job. But then I've learned from the mistake and try not to repeat it.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else want to add anything to that, or did she cover anything?
I completely agree with Lisa, but I think even when I was on campus, something that I really struggled with also was the fact that everything was on me. That was the first time that I had to take care of everything. It's also weird being away from home and having to take care of all of that and not having like a person that you can talk to. But I guess like ALEC and like other resources on campus were really helpful, but it's also like creating your own schedule and having a time for everything instead of just going with the crowd and what everyone else is doing helped a lot.
Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one. I know weekends may look a little bit different nowadays, but typically on weekends, what are things that SMU students would do? And we want you to be very open and honest about this.
Relax for students. So for me, I usually hang out with my friends and go shopping and go to some different restaurants to taste the American Chinese food. But sometimes we also go to some real restaurant. It's like to taste the Chinese food. If you like a spicy food, and there are a lot of spicy food around Dallas, and around here, if you can drive, you also can drive to some places. I think if you go with two or three friends, I think it's okay to drive for you and go around to look at Dallas. And also in downtown, we have a lot of activity. It's not like activities. I think we have a lot of fun in the downtown. And also in Fort Worth, we also have some places you can go. Yeah, I think that's it for me for on the weekend.
I don't know what most SMU students do on weekends, but I can tell you what my roommate and I do. We usually sleep in on Saturdays for a long time just because we don't want to get up if we don't need to get up, because both of us have 8 a.m.s like every day except that. And once we sleep in, we get up, and there are a lot of restaurants around SMU which are like walking distance, just like we spoke about, and we just like walk there for brunch or something. And after that, usually on the weekends, the campus is really quiet and more serene just because a lot of the students are from Dallas, so they decide to go home or they're just like resting in their rooms. So it's really a nice time to take a walk around. So that's what we do in the afternoons, and we just hang out with friends, maybe watch movies or something like that. And Sunday is like our excursion day, so that's when we decide like, okay, we're gonna go out or like explore something in Dallas today. And we take the DART, which is basically free for SMU students, and we go to places around Dallas. I've been to Deep Ellum, which is pretty well known around the SMU community, and there's a lot of museums and stuff that you can check out, and the streets are super cool with a lot of street food. And I think that's what we do on Sundays before we take a rest. But outside of that, there are a lot of activities that take place on Saturday within SMU. Like we do have different communities having festivals celebrated on Saturday, and that's something that you can do on Saturdays as well.
Thank you. And so I'm going to start taking a couple of questions from the chat as well. If there's a question that you're a little bit nervous to ask to the group, I mean, you can always, send it to me privately. And if you want me to ask that to the group, I can, or I can address it to you in an email separately. But how would you all say, both on campus, but also in the Dallas area, the question specifically about the Dallas area, would you say people are, how welcoming are people to international students?
I'd say that we have a very diverse culture here. Just for instance, store and restaurant selection, we can see that we have all sorts of different cultures around just the walking distance from SMU. And so because of that, I think it's not hard at all for international students to find something that they are more connected to. For instance, for those who are from Asia, we do have an Asian square that's not very far from campus, I believe. And then, though it's a little bit different from the authentic ones, it's still something.
And then just quickly, Emily and Deepu, would you all say that it's felt welcoming to you as international students in the Dallas area and on campus?
Definitely for me, I think it's because I also found communities outside of SMU community in itself. I like volunteering a lot, so I do volunteer with a lot of organizations that are local here, and I think that really helped me find out what the Dallas community in itself is like. So maybe a suggestion would be like trying to do things outside of SMU would help you come out of the little bubble that we live in, and that would also like make you realize how welcoming Dallas is as a city itself.
Yes, I agree there. I think Dallas is like it's very warm city, place, because every time whatever you go to some place, if you take a Uber or some Lyft, the driver will ask you where are you from, and they are very very happy to. I think they are very happy to chat with you, and also they are very warm to talk with you. They are very nice. So I think Dallas is welcome all students or welcome all people to come here. And if you graduate, I think you are still welcome to here and welcome to SMU.
All right, we have another question asking about what the differences are between coming in the fall and coming in the spring in terms of activities or happenings, like the Stampede. So what's the difference between fall and spring activities, or just the semesters in general to you?
I think the biggest thing is that when you're coming in, I think the fall cohort is much bigger than the spring cohort. So that can be a plus or a minus. With big cohorts, like it's harder to make connections. And if you're smaller, then you obviously get to know each other better. But again, with big cohorts, it's like you meet a lot of people and that's how you know a lot of people in your incoming class. So there's like both benefits and I guess like some things you need to consider before coming in for fall or spring. And I don't know why, but spring semester is technically longer, but it felt like it was just flying by. I think there's a lot more activities and people are a lot more outside because it's warmer and you see a lot of activities happening around you. And because of that, I think I enjoyed spring more than fall for my first year.
Okay. And with fall and spring, I think that this year is going to be really unique just because the way that programs will happen and gatherings will happen will probably look will probably look different. And so from, what I'm hearing, it sounds like there's going to be a lot more intent to make sure that there's enough opportunity for if anyone's coming in the spring to still feel really connected, or in the fall as well, just because of the way that we're coming in the fall. And so some things that I have seen just as tips from me seeing students who have come through and graduated is that if you're nervous or if you're like, is there a better semester? That's a really hard question to answer. And I've seen what the difference is in the student, because I've seen students come in a spring semester that were a transfer student even, and they were a little bit nervous because they thought people had already made friends. But I've seen them come through, and now that, I saw them become one of the most, like, I think almost like a leader within our student body. So you might remember Gaurav for our team. I think he's a great example of someone who came through, and that's just so driven by the person. And another question, I'll answer some of this, but I'd like to also make sure that you all answer this. How do you all think that the college experience might change because of the coronavirus?
I think I can take a stance. So you can go
And
ahead.
then Lisa.
Okay. I was just saying, I've been working with a lot of student organizations within the summer, trying to figure out how we can make it more welcoming for students in general without making sure we're following all the policies set by Dallas City. And I think something that will come into action is that we still want all our events to happen, but they will be smaller in number. And something that we're considering is that we might have events, the same event happening twice or 4 times in a week, and we will admit a small number of students every time so that they still get the same experience, but we're still maintaining the social distancing things that we're required to do. So I think, yes, there will be a lot of change, but we're trying our best to make it as welcoming for everyone as much as possible.
Lisa, did you want to add to that?
So we have, I think, 2 months of classes online now so far. And from the looks of it, things are interesting. There's a lot of changes in the syllabus as the professor adapts to online learning. And because of that, your learning experience is probably going to differ a lot compared to if you were to attend on-campus lectures. Since SMU is doing a hybrid model where you do both for classes at the same time, I'd say it's going to be probably not as welcoming as it could have been, but it's all for the sake of safety, of course.
Okay. I think that so far that's all of our chat questions. So I'm going to keep going through these. What do you all do whenever you would feel homesick?
I think for the homesick, for me, I think I'm okay with this because right now you can chat with different technology. Like in China, we can through WeChat to talk with parents and friends in China. It's really like a Zoom. So I think it's easier to talk with your parents and the friends. And when you're homesick, you also can get along with your friends because they can help you to change your mood. You can hang out with them to like for the dinner or go to the movie theater to watch a movie, and I think you will be good for if you make a friend here, and you will not really miss your home.
Okay, and before we keep going, I want to be mindful of time because we have about 3 minutes. And so I'm going to do kind of a speed round of any questions we have left. And so if you have any last pressing questions, go ahead and add them in the chat. And really quick, if you're nervous about online courses and moving into that, and say you're trying it and then you realize, wow, I either need more time or I need some sort of accommodation based off my ability to succeed online, there is an office called the Disability Accommodations and Success Strategies. Don't be intimidated by the word disabilities. That doesn't mean that you are not capable of something. It's an office designed for you to succeed academically. And so there's a lot of students who will use that office, even if they don't have a registered disability, just to talk about how can I do better in this course because I'm maybe struggling a lot online. And they'll work with the professor as well. So that is an office that is here to help you in that way. All right, so lightning round, really quickly. Can someone talk to me about tell us about how meal plans work and how your meal plan experience was?
So depending on what meal plans you have, it differs a little bit. Meal plans comes with a certain number of flex and a certain number of swipes. Incoming students usually are required to have the unlimited swipes option with the varying flex amounts. I'm sorry. So you can attend the on-campus dining hall at any time that they're open. You can swipe as many times as you want during a day. Whenever you enter your swap, you go in, set your food, enjoy it. That's pretty much it.
Okay, and some of the changes that the campus has made to accommodate meal plans and social distancing, I know they're moving a lot to remove self-serve options, so not everyone is touching everything, more stringent cleaning guidelines, to-go options if you just want to be able to get your food and go. So the way meal plan, the dining halls are operating are going to look different. It's only going to be for SMU. It's not going to be open to guests, also because of, just with the coronavirus and everything. And we got one last question before we go. As an international student, when will be the last date to arrive to campus? And so we recognize that travel and all that is a little bit tricky right now. And so there is a survey that the SMU admissions office has sent you that is going to ask you a question about travel and your being able to get a visa and all those questions. Answer that so we can follow up with you independently. However, admissions will follow up with you independently. However, September 7th is the date that we are, that would be the date that you'd want to get here by in order to be able to register through the government check-in process. And if you go to the ISSS website, click on students, go to new student information, you'll see all the different processes or steps to make sure that you're getting everything done in time. If you have questions, I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat box. Feel free to reach out to me with anything. We're going to do more of these webinars, so look out your email and the social media of our office. The next one is coming up. I wish I could pull it up right now, but it's coming up. We're doing it in about a month increments. And so I want to say thank you to Emily, Deepu, and Lisa for being with us today on a very early morning for Dallas time. So thank you. And thank you all for joining us. All right.
Thank you, everyone.